and this is our 5 on 5 show for you. Of course, I am Carmen Miranda, whose hat's going to fall off on me, and I'm an elderly version. Halloween is All Hallows Eve. All Hallows Eve is, in fact, the time of the year when it is believed that the physical and the supernatural combine to be the closest that they ever can possibly be. This is considered a magical time. So this is the time of the harvest for seeds and nuts, as well as the time to mourn the departed. Since all of us are not free of sin, we are scared that the departed are going to come back and haunt us for all the things we didn't do for them while they were alive. So what do we do in this All Hallows Eve season? We dress up in scary clothes. What's scarier than a 67-year-old Carmen Miranda? At any rate, this is the season when we do jack-o'-lanterns, we bob for apples, we dress up in scary clothes, we give out candy to children, we try to avoid having tricks played on us, we read scary stories, and we watch horror movies. This is to make sure that our dearly departed do not plague us for the rest of our lives. Anyway, we are going to be preparing for you 5 dishes. First of all is a caramel apple pizza, very low calorie, very low cholesterol, very low fat. This first dish is before you right now, and of course what it has, what you always have to have for Halloween, apples. Except we are going to be using Granny Smile apples, otherwise known as Granny Smith apples. The reason is these apples do not brown as fast as the Red Delicious apples. They have a nice tart flavor to them, and they're going to be on our dressing to our caramel apple pizza. So let me give you the ingredients and how you fix this wonderful dish, which is very easy to fix. First of all, you combine the butter, and it's going to be 1/4 of a cup of softened butter. Don't put it in the microwave, but just soften it up. Take it out of the refrigerator for a while. Together with 1/4 of a cup of stevia. This recommendation is from Marie, who is 90 years of age, who's going to be Little Miss Moffet. The reason is stevia is, in fact, a natural ingredient sugar substitute, and you use 1/4 of a cup of this wonderful ingredient. And also, you can buy, stevia has a brown sugar that is a low calorie, not a no calorie like the white sugar, but a low calorie brown sugar. You use 1/4 of a cup and you combine it. Then what you're going to be doing with these 2 sugars and your cream is you're going to be creaming them all together like this. Then what you're going to be doing is putting in your wet ingredients. Your wet ingredients are, in fact, 1 egg. What I am doing is to make this a lower calorie, which is each slice is like 220 calories maximum, 200 to 220 calories each, is I am substituting ingredients without sabotaging or affecting the taste. By the way, all these recipes are from Taste of Home, modified by me, and they are on the internet, but I've modified them. Our ingredients are up here on the board for you to write down in the event you want to fix this wonderful, low-calorie, low-fat, low-cholesterol caramel apple pizza. At any rate, I am substituting an egg beater for an egg. That means it's 1/4 of a cup of egg beaters gets mixed into your sugar mixture, together with 2 tablespoons of canola oil, together with 1 tablespoon of corn syrup, together with 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and you mix all those ingredients together. You're going to be making a wonderful low-calorie dough, as a matter of fact. And you don't necessarily need a beater at this point in time until you get to the flour. You can do this by hand. Okay, now in a separate dish, you're going to be putting the flours, and there is a wonderful gluten-free white flour, and they also do a wonderful gluten-free wheat flour. The reason I'm using gluten-free flours, and it's 1 cup of the brown gluten-free wheat flour together with the 3/4 of a cup of the white gluten-free flour. The reason I'm using gluten-free flour is because gluten, even if you're not a celiac, which means you're allergic to the flour or to the gluten, is it can cause gas, and you may not even know you're sensitive to gluten until every time you eat a piece of bread or cereal you get gas, which means you have a sensitivity to gluten usually, okay? It could be something else. All right, you mix all those together. Then what you're going to be doing is putting in 1 teaspoon, of baking powder, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. All right, when you get those in, you're going to be mixing them together with your original ingredient of your sugar to make a dough. And this dough is going to be going into the oven. You're going to knead the dough. All you have to do to knead the dough, by the way, is what you do is you take your fingers and you knead the dough. And by kneading the dough is you go like this, okay? After all of that is done, you're going to be putting this in the oven as a dough. You're going to be putting it on a baking sheet. You're going to be spraying the baking sheet with a cooking spray first of all, and you're going to be putting it in the oven for 12 to 15 minutes at 350 degrees. So then you cool it on a wire rack before you put your cream cheese dressing on top of it. While your dough is cooking 12 to 15 minutes in the oven, you're going to be fixing your topping. Your topping is based on fat-free cream cheese. And it's 8 ounces of cream cheese together with the ingredients are up here: 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1/4 of a cup of fat-free brown sugar. You're going to mix all of these ingredients together to make a creamy topping. When the dough comes out, you're going to let the dough cool for maybe an hour or even less, a half hour. Then you're going to be putting the cream on it, okay? After you put the cream combination on it, what you're going to be doing is slicing up these beautiful 3 of these Granny Smith apples and arranging them as little smiles on your dish. And then what you're going to be doing is drizzling it with the fat-free caramel, or sugar-free caramel topping, and then putting on top of it a little blend of peanuts. Now, let me show you the finished dish. Here, for your enjoyment, is the wonderful caramel apple pizza that is less than 225 calories and a slice, and you can eat it and you can enjoy it because it's low fat, low calorie, and low cholesterol. So let me introduce you now to our wonderful Halloween character, Little Miss Moffet, played by almost 90-year-old Marie.
I'm Little Miss Moffet, who sat on the tuffet, eating my curds and whey, which is, by the way, folks, cottage cheese, low fat. And then came a spider, and he sat beside me, and indeed frightened Little Miss Moffet away. I gotta run, bye.
Now we have for you a wonderful spicy fall stew. It is a vegetable stew, and it is a pumpkin corn and squash stew. This is an adaptation from the Taste of Home recipe on the internet. You take one medium-sized red pepper, all chopped up, together with one large chopped up white onion, together with 2 tablespoons of butter, and this is in fact a butter substitute. I am using Smart Balance, which has only 50 calories. It's a light Smart Balance. It's not the regular original one. And you can use Promise that has 80 calories to it, but also has vitamins B1, B6, and vitamins D. I take those vitamins separately, so I prefer to use Smart Balance. Okay, now you're going to saute the red peppers, the onions, and the butter all together. Saute just means you mix them up in a baking pan, in a saucepan on the oven until it's lightly brown. Okay, it's the onions that'll be lightly brown. The red peppers won't change any color. Okay, then you're going to be mixing in celery, 1 stalk of celery. By the way, celery and cucumbers, which are both in this recipe, are very good for losing weight around the middle. With some chili powder, and the chili powder is 2 teaspoons of chili powder, together with 2 cups of corn. You want to use the fresh corn or thawed frozen corn. Make sure it's thawed before you in fact use it. Together with 1 de-seeded jalapeno pepper. The de-seeding of the jalapeno pepper is you slice the pepper down the middle and you remove the seeds in it. That takes a lot of the heat out of the food. So if you want it hotter, keep the seeds in. But I think your mouth will burn up. Okay? This already has in it 4 different peppers. So it's going to be hot. But it's not hot. It's not spicy hot. Okay? You mix all of those ingredients together. And then you're going to be putting in 2 cups of, I'm using chicken broth, light chicken broth. You can, in fact, use vegetable broth if you prefer. Together with 1 can of solid packed pumpkin, together with 1 zucchini squash, all chopped up here, and together with that, 2 crookneck squashes. These squashes are very, very good, and they are emblematic of fall, even though both of these are in fact summer squashes. If you want to use a winter squash like Hubbard or Acorn or Butternut, you better get a sledgehammer for the shell. I don't have the strength for a sledgehammer, so I am still using summer squashes here. You mix all these ingredients together and you boil them. You boil them for at least 10 minutes. You'll also put in half a teaspoon of salt. You can put in more salt if you prefer, plus a dash, just a dash of cayenne pepper. If you put in more than a dash of cayenne pepper, you're going to be running around your block saying, my mouth is on fire, call the fire department. Okay? So what you actually want to do is just use a dash of cayenne pepper with this. Now you can also season your squash with dill weed and also with mint flakes if you want to add extra taste to it. But remember, it's got 4 peppers in it, so it's going to be sufficiently hot. It's a wonderful dish to keep you warm during the fall and to bring you closer to your loved one. Now, let me introduce you to the man of the hour. Let me introduce you to Superman.
My name is Clark Kent, and I am a senior citizen. I am in love with the beautiful Lois Lane, but she thinks I am too old and that I'm a schmuck. Lois is in love with that comic book character Superman, and she thinks he is her hero. And that's the only reason I wear this stupid costume. Come fly with me.
Now we are on to our ghostly strawberries. The American Cancer Society says we are supposed to be eating 5 fruits and 5 vegetables every day in order to act to prevent getting cancer. It's not a guarantee, but it's the best bet going, they say. At any rate, here's one of your fruits. Here is strawberries, and we're going to make them into ghostly strawberries. They are plump, they're beautiful, and even the green ends of the strawberries are going to come into play. We're going to be using a half a cup of white chocolate together with a teaspoon of shortening. I'm using Crisco shortening because I think it's probably the best one with the lowest, harm to your body. You're going to mix these together, and you can use a beater to mix up your white baking chocolate together with your shortening. The end, after you beated them together, you're going to be putting in 1/8 of a teaspoon of almond extract. That's just to give it an extra little boost. Then you're going to beat it all together. You're also going to be using 1/4 of a cup of chocolate chips, black. As a matter of fact, the Swedish have come out with a study that shows if you eat black chocolate, you can help to prevent yourself getting a stroke. So, chocoholics, eat away, eat away. Here, we only have 2. So you're going to have a limited intake of chocolate with this recipe. Each of these chocolate ghostly strawberries has, in fact, only 54 calories. Okay, so what you're going to do is you put each of the strawberries into your white mixture. You make it all nice and white, leaving the red at the top. And then what you're going to do is you're going to be putting in the eyes, and then you're going to be putting it on parchment paper and freezing them. You freeze them for 5 minutes in the freezer, okay? And then after you get them out, what you're going to be doing is you melt the remainder of the brown chocolate. Here, you take a toothpick, and what you're going to be doing, as you can see from our completed dish, is you're going to be making little mouths on your ghostly strawberries. So they're going to be coming at you for Halloween. And there you have here the recipe for ghostly strawberries. I would remind you, when you melt the white chocolate together with the shortening, put your microwave on 50% power. Otherwise, you're liable to burn your chocolate. And it only needs to be in less than a minute. So just take it out and use it. But don't have your microwave on full power. There you have it, ghostly strawberries. As you can see from the dish, they're wonderful, and you can even give them out to the kids for their Halloween. Now, let me introduce you to our most heavenly of creatures. Heavenly, heavenly, heavenly. Jill, who is our angel.
Hello, my name is Jillian, and I am an angel. I'm seen as a messenger and a spirit. Of course I have spirit. I'm a senior citizen. And messenger, oh man, can I talk. I'm thought of as like a white-dressed bodyguard for you. My job is to help you, because you guys down here are so inept that my job is to help you. Once I help you, I disappear. Once I accomplish my goals, I say, come fly with me. Forget that Superman guy. I'm your real ticket.
This dish is very, very easy to fix. These are Boo-rific orange meringue cookies. They have only 15 calories each. What you do is you fix 2 egg whites. I am using best of egg whites, and I'm using a third of a cup of this. This is the best thing you could possibly use. It's cholesterol free, and it's fat free. Also, you want to use your sugar substitute, and as the board indicates here, it's a half a cup of your sugar substitute. You are going to be putting that in slowly. First of all, you're going to be mixing your egg white, your 1/3 of a cup of your egg white, and you're going to be beating it up until it's nice and fluffy. Then after it's nice and fluffy, what you're going to be doing is putting in tablespoon and by tablespoon your sugar. And then after you put in your sugar, you're going to be putting in, and you get that all mixed together, you're going to be putting in a teaspoon of vanilla, a half a teaspoon of almond extract, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cider vinegar. Up here on the board it says 1/8 cider vinegar. excuse me, if you think that means 1/8 of a cup, you are wrong. You will have the sourest cookies imaginable if you put 1/8 of a cup of cider vinegar in this dish. Then you're going to use red and yellow food coloring to make orange cookies. You're going to be using that wonderful ingredient called chocolate, and these are going to be the eyes that you're going to be putting on your Boo-rific orange meringue cookies. Now, what you do with these orange meringue cookies, hold on here, my headdress keeps falling off, so I'll have to keep holding it up here. Okay, it's got all my fruits, you know, for the season on it. All right, then what you're going to be doing after you've mixed all of these together, made it nice and fluffy, you're going to be putting them down on a baking sheet with parchment paper. You're going to be putting them in the oven, and you're going to be putting it in an oven at 250 degrees for 40 to 45 minutes. All right, but before you do that, don't forget to put in your black chocolate chip eyes so they're staring out at you in their little orange meringue cookies. Now, after you have them put in the oven for 40-45 minutes, leave them in the oven for at least an hour. Then make sure you put them in an airtight container. The reason you put them in an airtight container is because they will collapse since it's meringue if they get out in the air. These are nice to give to kids for Halloween because they're low calorie, only 15 calories, and they stare out at the kids with a little chocolate chip eyes. And there you have it. And now, let me introduce you to our next wonderful, wonderful participant, Mr. Fang, Count Dracula.
I am Count Dracula from Transylvania. People think that I am a monster, but I am merely misunderstood. I live in a castle with 3 beautiful women, Carmen Miranda and Miss Moffet and Miss Angel. Come, let me kiss you so that I can have a bite to eat.
Finally, we have our lightly roasted pumpkin seeds. Fall isn't fall without a pumpkin, and of course, pumpkin seeds. This is a very easy dish to fix, as you can see from the board here. Use 2 cups of fresh pumpkin seeds. They can come freshly roasted, and if they're already salted, you can ignore this recipe that has salt or just add in the extra salt. I actually added in the extra salt without realizing I had purchased them already salted. And in point of fact, they were delicious. Everybody loved them. So it's all up to you whether you like more salt or not. Anyway, you put the 2 cups of pumpkin seeds in a container. Then what you're going to do is you're going to mix them up with 5 teaspoons of butter substitute. As I said, I am using the Smart Balance. You're going to mix them all in together. And then what you're going to do is you're going to do a mixture of Worcestershire sauce, 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, together with 1 teaspoon of the sugar substitute, which I'm using stevia here, together with 1/2 a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon of the garlic powder, and 1/8 of a teaspoon or a dash of that dangerous spice, cayenne pepper. You're going to roll these pumpkin seeds that are now all buttered in this material. You're going to sprinkle it all over it. Then you're going to use a baking sheet, and you're going to spray the baking sheet with a spray. I use an olive oil cooking spray because I think it's healthy. And you put it on the baking sheet. What you're then going to do is put the completed pumpkin seeds on your baking sheet and put them in the oven, and they're going to be baked at 250 degrees for 45 to 60 minutes. Every 15 minutes, you got to move them around to make sure that they're getting all of the ingredients that they should. You want to make sure that they end up dried out, okay? And then afterwards, you cool them completely, leave them in the oven to cool. Then you put them in an airtight container and you save them. Now, the only thing wrong with this lightly roasted pumpkin seed recipe is 1/4 of a cup has 85 calories. So don't eat more than 1/4 of a cup a day. Anyway, as you know, nuts are good for you. Seeds are good for you because they have the right kind of ingredients to be heart healthy, but they also have a lot of fat. So pumpkin seeds are very, very good for you. So enjoy your Halloween. And we want to thank you for watching our wonderful Halloween show. We want to wish you a Boo-rific holiday.